No, so yeah, no, cost I think is really very misunderstood. I think cost, cost has an emotion to it, like anything else does. So when somebody sees sort of cost to something, if it is higher than what they were expecting, maybe if it's lower than what they were expecting, sort of there is a question that ultimately then gets asked, about that product, right? So in terms of sort of cost, usually the accountants kind of are involved there, right? It's that person who is looking at how much the business is spending every month, the person that's sort of in control of those things. They sort of see that as ultimately sort of a cost. What really should be getting asked is what's the cost of either A, not accepting something, or B, what's actually the true cost of something. So cost really shouldn't just be measured as a number. Let's go with that second sort of point that I made, the true cost of something. So, what we've seen recently with sort of open banking has been that, a lot of sort of companies that previously sort of accepted like a manual bank payment. A manual bank payment is generally done for cents or pennies in terms of being able to sort of accept it. But then there's a huge amount of cost to sort of manually accepting a payment, because when you manually accept a payment into, a bank account, there's a huge amount of sort of uncertainty that then gets created. There's uncertainty from really sort of the player or the customer side when they're sending that money, will or will not it arrive? Is that money actually going to get there? And if it does, how quickly am I going to find out? And then also there's that huge amount of sort of time that it takes. Generally, it's sort of manually being done somewhere, in a back office somewhere with an Excel spreadsheet. So it comes into the bank account, it then goes into a spreadsheet, it then gets reconciled to, whoever it is on the account. And that there really is actually the true cost of something, right? It's the sort of uncertainty that it's actually creating. And then also there's the cost of being able to manually manage something there. So that's really a really, really important thing that we must take into account. So, going back sort of 7-8 years and sort of from my Trustly experiences, one of the best sort of insights into that was we went and sat down with, it wasn't actually an online gambling operator, it was a very large financial services business. And they said, look, we accept manual bank payments, and our bank it charges us, I think it was 20 pence at the time, through UK faster payments. And, obviously we were at that time, 10 times more expensive, in terms of an average transaction to accept it. But they had 2 or 3 people in an office, just outside of central London. So I'm not sure what the cost would be of sort of those individuals, but, let's just say that's £100,000 for the sake of argument. And then you've also creating sort of a huge amount of sort of uncertainty of whether or not that payment that somebody has manually typed in and entered has actually been sent. And then also once it has been sent, has it actually arrived? Or has it just gone off into the ether? Has it just disappeared somewhere? So that's really sort of the cost and the things that we look at in payment. It's not just sort of the face value cost of something. It's the cost of not being able to sort of operate or do things really in an automated fashion, which actually drives down the cost. Because at scale, those real cost savings, of being able to, reconcile, let's say 1 million transactions, it would probably take a team of, 20 people to reconcile 20 transactions, if there was 1 million transactions a month. So that cost there actually amplifies. You do not get sort of like at scale, a monopoly of scale, because it can only sort of go so much when you're manually doing something. Whereas at scale, sort of a product there can actually scale far better for an organization than it would do otherwise. So that's something that's really important to sort of understand about cost.